This is a banana. This banana is now in the present. This banana in the past. That is pretty much history in a nutshell. And that's what this video is going to be about. It's going to be about the best board games out there that actually teach us something, teach us some little bit of history out there. So look, history, old people, old places, old things, just old stuff in general. So let's go get edumacated. Number 10, and Praga, Caput, Regni. Now, why does this game rank in my top 10? Well, look, to be honest, it's pretty much an asterisk. But the reason I want to add it in is, first, it's an amazing game. Look, I love myself some Euros, and Prague is one of the better ones. Now, from here, what does it actually teach us? It teaches us about eggshells on a bridge. Now, why do we care about eggshells on a bridge? Well, look, there was some historic context behind it. There was the Charles Bridge in Prague, and they supposedly an urban myth where they put in these eggshells. Now, look, is it true or not? Who cares? But it made me look up about this bridge. It made me look up about the history about Prague, and that's why it's my top 10, sneaking in there, cheeky little Praga. Number 9, and we're getting serious. We're going to get rid of the banana here. Because we're now talking about Twilight Struggle, and this is a proper historical game. This is going to talk about the USA and Russia, I guess the conflict, the tensions they had during the Cold War. This Cold War lasted 45 years and covered off on espionage and the threat of nuclear weapons. Look, there's so much history to be had, and it's all done through these event cards. So do yourself a favor, play this very heavy game. Look, it's going to take a while, but you're going to learn something, and this is Twilight Struggle. Number 8, and we have Pax Pamir. Now, you can pretty much add in any of the Pax series because they're all historically accurate games. But the theme in this one, Afghanistan. Now, when you think about Afghani history, look, I mean, there's a lot there, but there's like conflicts and wars and warlords and heroin and stuff. Anyway, the one this is about is the Great Game, which is the 19th century when the Russians and the British were trying to insert influence into that Afghanistan area. Now, in this game, you're actually going to play as warlords trying to win the influence of the Brits, the Russians, or the Afghanis themselves. Amazing game where you're going to get a whole bunch of event cards, a whole bunch of people there, historical figures that you're going to learn about this great game. So that's my number 8, Pax Pamir. Number 7, and look, the little ones, they need to learn history as well. And the way they're going to learn history is through Similo History. Similo is a beautifully illustrated deck of cards. They're going to show a whole bunch of historical people on there. Now, how does this teach history? Look, the little ones, they're going to go, hey, Daddy, who's that old fogey on the card there? And you're going to tell them, and then you can go Google it together, and you're going to learn stuff. Look, it's such a beautiful way for the little ones to learn all these wonderful people in our history. Look, it's such a great little game. I love Similo. Anyway, that is my number 7, Similo History. I got thinking about number 6. I was thinking, look, the kids need more board games. What about learning some ancient civilizations and some amazing architecture? What about 7 Wonders Architects? Now look, you can pretty much pick any of the 7 Wonders series. They're all amazing, but 7 Wonders Architects is the latest and greatest in this set collection series. Now in Architects, we're looking at those archaeological wonders, and we're going to learn, and the kids are going to ask questions. Why do we have pyramids? It's a bloody good question, and look, that's what this game is going to do. It's going to inspire those questions and get the kids learning about history. Number 5, and we cannot talk about history without really getting into ancient Egypt even more. And look, Valley of the Kings is going to be such a great game for that. Now, look, similar to 7 Wonders Architects, it's a set collection game, but it's another game that's going to teach you all about ancient Egypt. Look at some of these cards. Look at that. That is a book people read back in the day. This is the Book of the Netherworld. Look, I've got my glass on. And a version of this book was found in the tomb of King Tutankhamun. So we know he loved a good read about animals, so good on him. That is what this game is about. It's got a whole bunch of cards, going to give you a whole bunch of facts about ancient Egypt. Look, we are learning. right now, I just learned something right then. Again, history. Electricity. We take it for granted every single day, but electricity started somewhere, and Tesla versus Edison is going to tell a story of the 1880s when electrical companies were first starting out. Now, there's a piece of history we don't talk about very often or even think about, but it's an amazing part of history. So, what about some famous people from back in the day, like Thomas Edison? He did some pretty cool stuff. George Westinghouse? I think he was pretty important. What about Nikola Tesla? Look, he invented the Tesla car. I think he did, sure. Nah. Anyway, those people from back in the day, 1880s, electrical companies starting out, incredible story. Now for another game that's similar, that could have made my top 10, Newton, another great Euro. Anyway, there we go. Number 4, Tesla versus Edison. Number 3, and we couldn't talk about historic games without talking about war games. Now, war, look, it's part of our history and there's a lot of different wars out there. But the one I want to talk about, and again, a bit of a cheat here, I'm actually going to talk about the entire coin series. There is so much there about historic wars. Now, some of the things they talk about, we've got Vietnam, you've got the latest Afghanistan war, they talk about piracy in Somalia, there's Gandhi, look, China, like there's so many different themes. You pick the war you're interested in, there's probably a coin game that covers it. Now, like Twilight Struggle and Pax Pamir before it, the way you're going to learn this history is through all these event cards. There's going to be so much information there telling you about the events that happened during that time. So there we go. My number 3, the coin series. Number 2, and this is one of my favorite games of all time, Lisboa. It's going to teach us the history of the color blue, pretty much. Anyway, Lisboa. Did you know there was an earthquake in Lisboa, in Portugal, back in 1755? I didn't know that. Did you know they reconstructed the place? Well, you probably would have guessed that because otherwise it would still be rubble. But yes, they reconstructed it. Amazing little specific piece of history, but I think it is brilliant that they brought that into a thematic approach into this game. Vital Lacerda is an absolute genius. Lisboa, an amazing game. So that is my number 2 game that we have learned something about history. And my number 1 is trekking through history. Now, as the name suggests, you are trekking through history. And the way that's going to be done is through 108 beautifully illustrated cards that's going to cover off on some of the biggest historical events in this world. Now, 4,731 of you lucky little devils got to back this on Kickstarter. Now, why is this my number 1 game? Well, because it's going to be so accessible to everyone. Now, why do we want to teach history? Look, we want people to learn, and we're going to do that through the wonders of board games. So, grab your cards, look at the years, look at the event, go Google stuff, get on there and, ask Unky Google for, some advice, and you have learnt yourself something new. That is the beautiful thing about board games. That's the beautiful thing about this top 10 list. Now, that is my number 1, trekking through history.